finds her way into the adult entertainment industry. Many in this space experience abuse, harassment, and violence.
Yo, what's good, guys? Uh, I'll quickly check if we're live and take it up from there. My life is this life. I have a feeling like this might cut somewhere in the future because this is really low. So I'm thinking I might just even stop the stream and then start all over because this is really low. And I won't like to just start modeling and discover later that it was all in vain. This is okay. Upload speed isn't so bad. Let's see if I'm still streaming. I won't like to just start modeling and discover later that it was all in vain. Okay, I feel like I'm going to start. So what we're modeling for today is this right here. It's a trolley, more like a shopping cart, and I already have reference. I think screen grabbed, so I'm just going to pull up a window, go to downloads, and I don't think I've screen grabbed that. Let me look for it. I think this is it right here. So I can just take a screen grab of this. And I can pull in right here. So I can reset that and reset that GN RX 90. And I'm just going to place this at a level where I feel like it's good. But before that, I'm going to just reduce opacity and then quickly check the stream. I don't think I've screen grabbed that. Let me look for it. I think this is it right here. All right. Stream's good so far. I'm going to bring it up to the surface level right here. And I'm going to bring in a cube. And right here, I can GZ and use control on that, and I can scale this on the Z just like so, and I can GX, move this out just like so. So I feel like this is somewhere around the center point, and this is good. So I can shift DY, move this back into space, and then delete this, right? And using the 3D cursor as a pivot, I can rotate this by 90, RZ 90, and I can GY this into place and try to just get the central point of this. I think central point should be around here. So with this, I can GX out to the side. So right now we can start modeling. I think the most part of this modeling is just going to be line modeling, curves, and just using that to get the shape of this. Right. I'm going to be swiping right sometimes, or maybe I should just take a screen grab of what the final thing looks like so that I can always have that information and look of success to the side. So yeah, we have it open right here. I'm going to start with the base, create the shape, and then I probably also want to mirror that. So let's start. Let's just start. I'm going to bring this I'm going to bring all at center, and right here I can bring this to this point, and I can start extruding basically. So right here I can extrude to this point, extrude to this point. Right here I can extrude, and extrude up to this point. I can extrude, I can extrude on the Z up to this point, extrude, and extrude to this point. So we have that. I can select this and go to this side view right here. Is this center? I don't think so, but I just still want to GY, move this out just like so. And you see this front piece, I want to bring it in a little bit. So using proportion editing and make sure connected only is selected, I can GY. Just like so. Or if I'm not GYing, I can rotate from active elements, and right here I can RZ, move this in slightly. So we have that. Right here I can select this and EY, and then I can mirror this to the other side. So we have that. Before I apply that subdivision I just did, I want to add in some holding loops. So this right here I'm going to use to hold the shape a little bit. This I can GG. Right. GY. I can select this and GG. Just make all the edges tighter. I think this is too tight, so I'm just going to release this a little bit, and maybe this I'm going to dissolve that vertex. And yeah, this is cool. I think next thing I'm going to do is convert this into a curve, and then give this some thickness. So this has some thickness. I'll apply scale on that, and Maybe this part needs a bevel. Let me see. How do I bevel this? I'm going to bring in a subdivision to round that off. Looking at this, I want to bring down the resolution. Let's see if I bring this down to 4. Then I'm going to also fill caps. So what fill cap does is, like, if I turn it off, you see that here has an opening, but fill caps will cover that up. So we have that. I'm going to shade smooth, and I'm going to go on to model the other part of the body. I think yeah, this part needs a holding. Can I subdivide this? Subdivide, that's cool. Subdivide that space. GG. Flip. That's cool. I feel like I'm going to model the whole body. Should I model it? Let me model the tire first. If I go on to modeling the whole body. So for the tire, I see there is a base kind of attached to the lower part of this. So I'm going to bring cursor to, let's say, this point, right? Cursor to this point. And then right here, I'm going to bring in a plane, scale that down. And I'm going to GZ this, right? That plane, I'm going to scale on the Y also. I'm going to go to the Z axis and then just rotate that a little bit. So this is going to be RYY to get the local axis, SYY rather, scale on the local axis, and GYY to move on the local axis. So that's cool. Looking at this shape, I really don't know what it is, but we're just going to guess what that is. I think it has something like this. Then this on the Z axis is extruded to this point. This is also extruded to this point. And yeah, I think this I can GY. GY, but on the GY, I want to select this and then use this to mirror to the other side. So for the mirroring, I want to GX, move this in SY0 GY. Okay. I think this extensions, especially this one, has to be brought down slightly, and I'm going to extrude this along normals just slightly. So we have that. I can now bring in the tires. The tires looks like cube, scale down, GZ. On the top view, I can rotate this slightly. GZ. GYY, right? And then you see all of this to the side. I'm just going to use this to form a basic block out of the shape. So a basic block is going to look something like this. This right here, this right here, this out to the side, this out to the side. So this is a basic block out, I believe, right? So I think the only thing it needs right now is for me to clear out these faces and maybe add a subdivision. Let me see. Okay, subdivision is maybe not there. Let's just try to refine the shape. I feel like using mirror modifier on this, but let me see. Okay, stone to the local axis, so it's good. GG. That's fire. I think right here I can bring this down to this point, and then I'll select this two and just insert it, turn this into a circle, but on the side view add that scale, turn it into a circle again, rotate, but we're not using active element, we're going to use bounding box. So I'm going to rotate this, scale this down, and then delete that face, and then I can select this edge right here, select that, select this, fill, and then extrude. That's cool. Right here I can just shade, auto smooth, and then insert. So that's cool. Right here I can set this like so and shade auto smooth. That's smooth. And right here I can select this and extrude along normals. So I think we have the shape of the tire. Maybe say for more subdivision to round out this place. I don't think there's anything else that matters. I think this is good. I'm going to bring cursor to this point, and I'm going to bring in a cylinder. The cylinder, I'm going to come to the side view and rotate this by 90. I'm going to rotate on Z by 90 too. So I can scale this, bring this into position, scale it on the Y, just like so. And I'm going to copy this rotation. Apply rotation, copy this rotation. I should be able to copy this rotation now. Copy. Wow. RXX. Okay. I think you copied the rotation, but I didn't see that. So we're going to scale this on the Y. Just scale this. This tire is already becoming smaller than the size. So I'm going to scale this up. GX. And if I switch this to the local axis, let me see if it's going to get it. SY. No. This is C. Okay, not bad. So we can just take the tires and bevel this one. We can take this inserts right here. Can select this edge and then bevel that. I think right here We have an insert that we can duplicate, select that, extrude outward slightly, and insert. This needs to be thicker, so I can take this face and just GY. So I can bring back the whole thing, and here's our tire. Looks a bit too slim though. So I'm going to take this, take only one side, and then GY. So I can select this, go to the top view, and GY just like so. Unselect this, bring origin to geometry. Oh, I have to move this manually. So tire is done. I'm going to just bevel this, make it look softer. Select both and auto smooth. So I think this whole thing here, I can probably just mirror to the other side, right? So I'm going to take this, using this as a reference. I can mirror. Nope. Is there? I think there are existing mirrors here, so I would just apply all of this geometry to mesh. Select this. So these two I'm going to join. Select this. Let's take this origin to geometry. Select this, flip, and it's not flipping properly. So I'm going to use the main body itself, and it flips. That's cool. I'm going to go to the top view, and let me see. I'm just going to move the tires to the back. We're not moving anything else. Select all and just shift D. This to the back. Rotate G. GX, bring this to the side. Can scale this up a little bit, and then this I can try to move into place, but that's just going to be tricky. So I'm going to cheat this a little bit. I'm going to select this GX, and then instead of going through all that process, I'm just going to take this up and scale. scale on the X. Okay, that's cool, but this front here is just, it's a complete mess. Let me see if stream's still working. Let me see if stream's still working. Okay, stream's good. I'm just going to move these two into position so I can shift D, put it around like this side right here. And yeah, that's good. I'm going to go on to the top part of this. For the top parts, I'm not sure how I'm going to approach it. I feel like I should approach it like a cage, you know, just bring in a box first. I'm going to select this point, move it down. Select this point, move it down to this corner. This one down to this corner, this down to this, and this right around here. So I think we have the basic shape of what this should look like. I'm going to bring cursor to center and then object to center too. And after I reset, I'm going to take this up on the z-axis. GX. Right. So I'm not going to apply scale because I feel like I'll need it. I'm going to take off the top. And then I can, let me see if I can cheat my way through this. I want to add loops. In a way that is visually accurate. I think somewhere around here is good. And I'm going to add loops to this part. So that's cool. I'm going to take this and look in front too to see. I'm going to undo all of this, and I'm looking at this. I'm undoing because I feel like the top right here tapers off, right? Well, the back should be wider. And then this corner, we're going to GY. As a matter of fact, I'm going to select both corner and SY. Okay. So I'm going to add those loops again. One, then this, and then to the back. I think it's going to be pretty much the same thing. But I need to know the amount I'm going to add to the back. So I think this amount, this looks too much. Oh, looks too much. So let me do that again. Somewhere around here is good. I'm going to add in a wire frame modifier, and we're just going to see where it's at. I think I'm going to apply the scale first and then just pull it back in. So I'm not really sure about the wireframe modifier, and the thing is that the wireframe modifier adds, it's not like cylindrical. All of this is, it's not cylindrical, and I don't know how. Let me see if there's a way I can do that. How to make wireframe modifier result cylindrical in Blender. Yeah. Is there a resolution option? Let me see. Crease edges is another thing. Maintain the edges you want to subdivide to smooth out. It should look like this. Okay, this person achieved this result here. Interesting result so far, one of the best. But still, exactly what I'm looking for issues. Disconnected topo. How it is done on purpose and is left with consistent result because of one single and one long curve. But inside faces remains the same and the object is not manifold. For the first time trying this, the angles were looking great. However, it does so at the expense of flattened. Man. I don't think I'm getting what I'm looking for. Can I? So I have an idea. And I'm going to try my idea. I'm going to take out the wireframe. I'm going to delete only faces. And then I'm going to convert this into a curve. Right? If I take this curve and boost the depths, does it make it cylindrical? It does. But we have some disconnected mesh, which I do not mind. I think I'm okay with that. I can apply scale and then just bring that in a little bit. That's cool. We're going to do the handle, and for the handle I want to how am I going to handle the handle? This result here looks different from this one. Totally different. I want to take this part right here and just extrude to the top. Or maybe take this and or this and this and just extrude upward. Oh my god. Okay. So I'm not going to follow this reference right here to complete this. And this is just going to lean backward a little bit. I really want to bevel this, but if I add the bevel to it, it just messes up the whole thing. So I'm going to take out the bevel. And I'm going to do this manually. So these vertices are going to go off. And this right here, I'm going to bring cursor to this point. I'm going to bring in I'm going to bring in a cube, select that cube, go into tab 1 and bring all of that to center, right? And I'm going to easy and EX or EY. And then right around here, I can bring cursor to this point. Select this. I'm going to bring origin to 3D cursor and I can mirror this to the other side. So this can be our curve object. Select both, apply scale, bevel. I'm going to rotate, bring this in, and then I'm going to convert this to a curve first and then just add depth. That's cool. Next I want to do this hook. So I think pretty much same routine. I'm going to bring in cube, select all of that, change to a vertex selection, and then merge all at center. So this is going to be extrude, 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 and I can just take this all the way to this point, right? And this is going to go in here, right? In and then just like so. I'm going to select that, add, kind of want to add subdivision to it, but let me just bring this to this side. G and then G. That's cool. Right here, I can select this and then G. So we have that. I can convert this into a curve and then add depth to that. I want to add subdivision to it though. But in subdividing that, we created an issue here. So I'm going to subdivide this curve and then bring this close, subdivide this and then bring this close so that we'll have a sharper edge on that part. So we have this. This is cool. That's probably where, not probably, that's where the handle is going to be. So in order to get the shape of the handle, I'm going to select this and this, duplicate that, separate that selection, right? Then I'm going to take out all of that depth. I'm going to convert this into a mesh, or we'll just apply that curve and then try to just get the shape. It's all about getting the shape at this point. So I'm going to come all the way to this point, 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 this point. I'm going to extrude this, extrude, and then extrude this all the way out here. Extrude, and then this I'm going to fill. So all of this information, I'm going to connect this to this with F, right? Fill. I'm going to fill this. How many do I have left? I'm going to fill. I'm going to fill. Looks like we might need to subdivide this one by just 2. So I can easily fill and then fill. So that's good. I can select all and then I can insert. You know what? Let me just, on the z-axis, I can GY and extrude this in just like so. So we have that. I can maybe select boundary loops of this one. Then select the loop of this one too. Right. I'm just going to bevel this. That's good. And then this is just going to be giving an inset, and then on the side view I'm going to extrude in, scale that down. That's cool. What's going on here? If I add a subdivision to this, I think it holds up. No, it doesn't. So I'm going to undo. And right around here, I'll select this and maybe give it a little bit of space. And then this, I'm going to adjust. I'm going to bevel again. I think that bevel is good. And this, I'm going to insert and then extrude. But what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hide this inside the mesh, just like so. Hide. So that's cool. Right here, I can select this edge and this edge and just bevel those. So I can add a subdivision to this. I will have a good result. However, I feel like this place needs to be tightened. So that place is tightened. I can bring in a loop right here. If I bring in a loop right here, will it be an issue? I think it's going to be. So I'm going to select this too. I'm going to insert. On the side view, I'm going to subdivide and turn it into a circle. Scale that down, rotate. And I'm going to bring origin to this point. And the reason I want to do it is that I want to mirror this, right? After mirroring, I'm going to apply that mirror. And then we have both. I'm just going to bridge between on those. Let me see if I can select boundary loops. I can. So I'm just going to, I want to bevel, but I can't right now. But this is good enough. So I'm just going to go to the side and move this out a little. So we have that selected. I can come in, select this, and mirror that to the side. Select this, mirror that to the other side. So that's cool. With this mesh selected or done, I can now create the bar in there. So I can bring cursor to this point. Maybe I want to do it together with no, I'll do that a separate entity. So I'm going to bring the cylinder. On this, I'm going to R90, scale that all the way down, just like so. Right? So we have that. I can select this and GY, right? And then GY this. Right here, I can bring this in here, bring this in here, select this outward like so, and this I'm going to shade auto smooth. So this is cool. I'm going to select this, and then mirror, and that's cool. That's pretty nice. Looking at the reference though, the reference here is just the actual picture is just so different from what I'm modeling. But I'm just going to continue with this, and then I'm going to scale and shift Y, GY. All right. This looks good for the trolley. However, I feel like this right here, maybe it's not well positioned, but I think I can live with that. Before I create this part, I want to see if there's any other thing that I'm missing. I like the idea of this this space right here. So I feel like I want to do something like that. I'm going to bring in closer to that point. I'm going to bring in a plane RX or Y90, right? I'm going to GY or GX. I'm going to SZ. Take this point and I'm going to move it right around here. So for this, I'm going to SY. Bring it in SY. So we have that. I can select this two. Maybe I want to add in my loops first. And then select these 2 points at the edges and just bevel them. But I need to apply scale first and then bevel. That's cool. On the side view, I want to select this and just bring this out. So right here, I like what this is looking like. I'm going to dissolve or remove all the faces. I'm going to link these two objects. No, I can't link object data. Oh my god. So maybe I want to copy this depth amount here, convert this into a curve, and then paste the depth amount. That's cool. We have this. I think I can still duplicate. Maybe I can GY just a smidge and then rotate GY, and then I can shift D, rotate this GY. I can fit this in here. Bring origin to geometry. That's cool. Then I can have this my backboard here. I mean, all of this I went through just to have this backboard here actually. So it makes sense. So I'm going to take this and then on the side, I'm going to rotate that, slightly scale that down. I'm going to G to this point. Right here, I can SY. And right here, I can SZZYY. G. Rotate. 1, 2. I want to bevel those, but let me apply scale first. Select this and then I think I can have 4 down there. Select this, delete this face. Right? I think right here too, we probably want something to extend out. EY. Let me just mirror this to the other side, apply that mirror, and I can select these two and just bevel those. I think this two needs to be beveled, so I'm not going to take this and bevel them as well. And then this part is going to be extruded. Well, I think everything is just going to be extruded actually. So that's cool. I'm going to shade, auto smooth, and scale up. That's cool. I need to create these guards. So this railing, first of all, is going to have like an extra cushion on that handle. That's 1. 2, this edge right here needs a padding. So I'm going to select this and just select the edges that are relevant to it. So for example, I think these edges are relevant. I'm just going to separate this. I want to remove the depth first before I convert it into a mesh. Next I'm going to go to the top view, right? So I can create the right casing for this. So I'm going to I think first of all, let me extrude outward. Right? I can select all and then I have to flip the normals. The normals are all over the place. Whoa. Recalculate normals. You know what? Let me just do solidify. Oh my god. I'm just going to manually flip these normals. So this, recalculate this. I can flip this. I can flip this. I can flip with an alt. So, yep. But why is this intersection here? If I apply solidify, what's this? Maybe right here, I can just extrude along normals. I'm going to undo. And the last solidify I did, I'm going to do it again. But this time around, I have to manually rearrange that part that is intersecting. So with this, I'm going to flip normals but with alt. Then this, I'm going to flip normals but with alt. So that's cool. That's pace. I can increase the solidify on this, right? On the side view, I can G and just case it in. I can apply the solidify, select this. But from this to this, I'm going to let them meet at center. And from this to this, I'm going to let them meet at center. So we can select both and just adjust accordingly. G. So that's cool. Right here. Merge by distance. Merge by distance. But why can't I select the entire loop? Like, man, Blender sometimes though. Or can I just select everything and just select sharp edges? Like, select sharp edges. Or just hold one and then select sharp edges. That's cool. Bevel all of that. I think this included. No, that not included. I'll do that after the fact. Bevel and then this. Wow. I'm going to bring in another loop. Take out this one. Dissolve edge. Just delete edge, in fact. Or delete vertices. I'm going to select this and then bridge. I'm going to take out this face and let's bridge that again. So I can bridge. It's not bridging properly, but I think we can work with that. I'm going to select this edge and bevel that. Shader to man, what's wrong with this thing? Like, shading is so Wow. Should know this is so bad. I'm going to dissolve these edges. I'm going to take this and GY closer right here, rotate, select this, and then bridge. So I can select this and just flip to the other side. I have to do that for this corners also. So right here, I think I'll just do it on my own rather than taking a mesh from this. I'm going to bring in a cube, scale that down. G. Right here, I can increase the counts like so. Select this edge, delete vertices. Right. Select this, extrude. Come to the side, select this, extrude. So right here, I can select this edge, right, and just bevel. And select this and extrude along normals to hug the mesh. So right here, I can do this and just flip to the other side. But I think I'm going to... there's a detail down here that I didn't capture. So I think that's the last I'm going to do. And then we'll call it a night. I'm really glad I was able to stream today. After, let me not even go there. Let me not go there. Let me see stream. Let me not go there. Let me see stream. Stream's good. Next I'm going to do is down here. I'm going to bring cursor to this point. I'm going to bring in rectangle, scale it down, GZ, GY. Right? And then right here on the top view, I'm going to GX rather. Scale this, GX. And then right here, I can select this and GZ, GX, bevel all of that. Right? So with that bevel, I can add loops to this point and then this point. And all of these loops right here, we don't need them actually. But it's supporting the shape. Yeah, it's supporting the shape. But we don't need it in the wireframe though. How do I manage that? GZ. Bevel. I really want to bevel this though. You know what? I'm going to dissolve all of this. Then I think there's a way to use a bevel weight to affect only one part of a particular mesh. So I'm going to try it. Where is bevel? This is bevel. Yeah, it's already affecting it. I don't even need to change the weight. I'm going to select all and then delete faces only. Then next is convert to a curve. This is too thick. I'm just going to bring it down slightly. My bevel is no longer active. Wow. I'm going to shift D this down to this point. Rotate. Go into transparency mode and just bring this up slightly. And this GZ down slightly. So this I can GY, flip to the other side. GY. But this is not working. I'm going to remove all of that depth, convert it to a mesh, select. Wow. I'm going to do this again. So I'm going to bring in a plane, scale that plane down, GX, this into the back, GZ, and this part I'm going to GX all the way to the back, just like so. And on the top view, I'm going to scale, right? And this part has a loop, this part has a loop. This part, I'm going to bring this here, and on the side view, I'm going to G. Right? This, I'm going to bevel. You know what? I'm just going to do one part. So this entire length here, I can remove all of that face, select these two edges and just bevel that out. Right? Then, can I delete faces and edges only from this? Let's see. Oh, man. You know what? I'm going to select all of it. I'm going to select boundary loops. And then, can I invert that and delete only faces and edges? So this is good. I can select this and turn this into a curve, right? Because with this now, I can flip to the other side and we have this, which I really like. And then I can apply, I can apply mirror. So maybe what I can do is get the width on the curve, add, I want to add in a subdivision, but it's not giving me good stuff. So let me just subdivide manually and GX rather. Do the same here, subdivide manually and GX. Go to the top view, let's see what it looks like. G. Right here I can increase the subdivision. That's cool. So I'm just going to apply everything. I think this is good size. Pause. So right here I'm going to select this, and on the top view I'll shift D. Yeah, I don't think I can shift DY. So I'm going to copy this, go all the way back to that plane that I created right around here. This is the plane. So for that plane, I'm going to select this. I have to be careful not to copy something else that will override the former thing I copied, because that final wireframes we just created, I have all of those copied in a clipboard. So once I create this one, right, I can paste that final one. So I can select both and then bevel, just like so. I can select this entire thing in the jiggy, right? And I'm going to select boundary loops, right? And then I'm going to invert, and then I'm going to delete only edges and faces. Now we have this. I can paste what I'd copied earlier. Is it still? It's not on. Oh my god, it's not on curve anymore. So I can curve this a little bit and just I think I'm just going to estimate that size. I'm going to bring in the curve at depths, and that's cool. Right here I want to bring in cursor to this point, and the reason I want to do that is that I want to bring in a cylinder RX90. I'm going to scale that all the way down, and SX or SY. So we can duplicate and bring it over to this point. SY. I think that's about it, man. Yeah, I said I really would want to what do you call it? To texture. So I will look at the timing on this right now. This is 1 hour 8 minutes. I'm just going to do some polyhaven texturing, not even like crazy stuff. So I'm just going to go to polyhaven and go down to textures. Let me see if there's anything red or anything plasticky. No, let me just scroll through and see. As a matter of fact, let me do metal first. Metal. I'm going to select all this and move to a dump. And the reason why is that I don't want to have to come back to fix something that I don't have a copy of it. So all of this to a dump, and right here I can apply this mesh and measure a distance. And something weird about this. Let's see. I can go to shader and desaturate this. Hue saturation, and then turn this all the way down. But roughness, let's see. I'm going to bring in the color ramp, and then roughness we can somehow toggle it. This part I can select, and I just want to add a plain red color, bro. I think that's what I'm going to do. Red. So I can just link all the other red to this material. Link this to this. This metallic material is not metallic in at all. As a matter of fact, let me take it out and just create my own metallic. This is better. But there's some shading issues here though. I'm going to take this link, and then this, and this are going to be linked materials, right? This tire, I'm going to create a new material for it, and the first material is going to be this silver material, right? So I'm going to select that, invert, and create a new materials for those. So for this new material, it's going to be essentially black with high roughness to be like a matte black. That's cool. Then it's not completely like that. For example, this part right here, it looks like rubber to me. So I'm going to create new material here, move it towards this part, increase roughness, and assign. I'm going to make that dark a little. That's cool. I'm going to select so this, I'm going to L select, assign to the metallic. I think this two should be assigned to metallic. Then this right here is going to be this material. Then I feel like this metallic material has to be refined by dropping the roughness. There's something fundamentally wrong with this metal. Like the shading of this is just, you know what? I'm going to measure by distance, but this time I'm going to bring down distance like wow. On this part, I'm going to add in, if you look here, you see some supports. So I'm going to bring in something like adding this loop, bring this to this point. I'm going to add in a cylinder, RX 90, scale that down. No. View frame to selected. For this, I'm going to take some artistic liberty. All right, so I'm going to select this face and easy. And then shift DX or Y rather. So I can select this pin and just flip. Oh no. Shift D Y. Okay. So that's cool. That we're done for today. I'm going to look at what number that is. I'm glad that I was able to complete the stream. So that's cool. That we're done for today. I'm going to look at I was able to complete the stream without like network glitching out and stuff. So where is it? Trolley is day 66. So I'm going to come on here, save that as day 66, right? Day 66. Shopping cart or trolley. So yeah, man, that's about it, guys. So long, and until I see you guys in the next one.